All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, last season, the Oklahoma City Thunder burst onto the scene with 57 wins to finish the regular season with the best record in the Western Conference. And this season, the Thunder have taken it to another level. As so far, OKC is 54-12 on this NBA campaign, and they're on pace to have their best season in franchise history, which includes their time as the Seattle Supersonics. Now, so far this season, OKC, they've beaten the defending NBA champion Boston Celtics twice. They've beaten the New York Knicks twice. They split their season series with the Denver Nuggets, and they've also split their season series with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And of course, inside of that series with the Nuggets, top team, one of the top teams in the West, also in their division as well. They've played each other four times this year. Nonetheless, you look at this Thunder team, okay, they've currently got the best record in the West, and it ain't even close. I mean, second place right now, we're talking about Memphis and Denver. And both of these teams are 12 full games behind OKC in the standings right now. Aside from that, you look at the Thunder's best player, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and we're talking about somebody who's possibly in line to be named as the MVP of the NBA for 2025. But cumulatively, in my opinion, I feel like enough people, or not enough people rather, are talking about the Thunder in regards to winning it all. And why is that? I mean, maybe it has to do with the fact that OKC has a very young team. And of course, some people are going to be quick to say, well, maybe their youth will hinder them in the postseason. Some people feel that their youth hindered them last year. They got to the second round. They lost to the eventual Western Conference champion Dallas Mavericks, and I think the biggest reasons for, in my opinion, why OKC lost to Dallas last year. I think first and foremost, you look at the two finishers that the Dallas Mavericks had and Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. And we're talking about, especially in the case of Kyrie, one of the best finishers at the guard position in NBA history, period. Okay. I do think that the youth did come into play there and the inexperience. And I think that is something right there that could possibly be scaring some people off as far as drinking or not drinking the Kool Aid in regards to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Yes, they are still a young team, but you've got to look inside of the numbers. They're 54-12 this season. They've only lost 2 games or in a row one time this season. Okay, they don't have a 3-game losing streak, nothing like that. We're talking about a team, they're easily going to win 60 games. I think when it's all said and done, we're probably talking about Oklahoma City as a 65 win team this season. Okay, and I just feel like um, enough people are not talking about them, in my opinion. I think when you think about the sizzle, if you will, for the Western Conference right now. Always, there's going to be a push to any team that LeBron James is on, and that's the Lakers. And of course, more of that sizzle went that way following the acquisition of Luka Doncic. You've got a Memphis Grizzly team that has shown improvements with the return of John Morant. You got the Denver Nuggets, who won the NBA championship just 2 years ago. Okay, you've got the Phoenix Suns with KD. That, it's been a talking point. So many others. I feel like all of these talking points, and you would say, yeah, Oklahoma City maybe has gotten lost in the shuffle. The fact is, they just consistently go out there and have been taking care of their business. They play in a small market. Okay, uh, outside of SGA and Chet Holmgren, the casual basketball fan really can't name a lot of people that play for the Thunder, but they simply go out there and execute. They play a good brand of basketball, and this is why they have won so many games this season, in my opinion. Now, one question for the other contenders in the Western Conference: is anybody really scared of OKC once you take SGA out of the equation? That could be big right there because it's one of those where the Thunder do have five guys, technically six guys, who are averaging in double figures this season. But they don't have a guy on this team that, puts fear in people once you take Shai Gilgeous-Alexander out of the equation. That could be big come postseason time. I still think the Thunder are going to be very formidable. I think they're going to be very dangerous. One thing that I will say for the last couple of years for OKC that I have not been a fan of, I just have not been a fan of them not going out there and making big moves at the trade deadline. I think that is something, you know, with Sam Presti and company that they've never been, known for. They keep it close to the chest. They rely on the draft picks, they rely on the analytics, the youth, you name it. But at some point, you're going to need some veteran guys. You're going to need some guys with more seasoning to come in there and help you take that next step. I know bringing in an Alex Caruso uh, from the Chicago Bulls was sort of big for OKC, but they're still going to need a little bit more. Do people really fear Mark Dagnall as a head coach? And I mean, you look at it. I don't think he gets enough credit. I don't for what he has done with the Thunder in each year that he's been there, and this is his fifth season now. Okay, OKC's record has improved. Okay, and it's improved, drastically, and as he has built and established his program there for the Thunder. But again, as a head coach and as a star player like SGA is becoming, uh, people are going to criticize you fairly or unfairly by what you are able to do in the postseason. So, with all of that said, should the Thunder be the favorite to get out of the West? I'm not going to say that they are an overwhelming favorite, but I think that they definitely are in the mix because even though the people are not talking about them enough, the road to the West, in my opinion, will go through Oklahoma City because you're gonna have to knock them off at some point. And I know right now, if the season ended today, there's a possibility of OKC facing the Lakers in round two. That could change because you look at it, two, three, four, and five, they're jumbled up together right now. I'm talking about Memphis, Denver, the Lakers, and the Houston Rockets. We're talking about one game, okay, separates all four of these teams. So a lot can happen right there. The Golden State Warriors look like a much different team with the acquisition of Jimmy Butler. They are playing some good basketball as well. But nonetheless, I think collectively, enough people aren't talking about Oklahoma City, and I feel collectively enough people don't respect Oklahoma City. But I'll say this: at the end of the day, regardless of whatever genre, platform, sport, whatever that you're going in and going out there and doing, respect isn't given; it's earned. And at the end of the day, for anybody who's not going out there and respecting OKC, hey, you know what? If I'm OKC and I'm Mark Dagnall and I'm Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and company, I'm telling myself, hey, you know what? Use this as fuel for your fire. Because if people ain't talking about you and people ain't respecting you, the best way to go out there is prove it. If you're SGA, you know, you have shown and you have continued to show that you are an elite scorer of the basketball in the National Basketball Association. Now go out there and do your thing on the playoff stage because that's when people really remember you. And at the end of the day, the same chip on his shoulder that SGA came to the Thunder with after he got traded from the Clippers in that Paul George trade. It's one of those where you know what, just have that chip on your shoulder come playoff time. I think this entire Oklahoma City team needs to have that chip on their respective shoulders come playoff time and play. You know what? Simply play that. You know what? They don't respect us card. But nonetheless, you don't win 54 games through mid March in the NBA by accident. This is a legit team. SGA is a legit scorer. Like I said, he's in the mix to be the NBA's MVP. That is something that you don't, gloss over. You don't gloss over a team that wins 60 games. And in the case of Oklahoma City, we're more than likely talking about a team that's going to win 65 games at least. But like I said, respect isn't given, it's earned. And if I'm OKC and the way that people ain't talking about them this year, just use that as fuel to your fire. Go into the postseason with an additional chip on your shoulder, and hey, you know what? Prove them wrong. That's all I can say. But nonetheless, this Thunder team is real. They're legit, and let's see if they can make some noise and get some people on their bandwagon, if you will, come postseason time. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Also, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I'm signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.